There's nothing new under the sun.
Wars of the Jews, Book 6, Chapter 5.
Okay. Now, let's go into Ezekiel, the last chapter. The last scripture we're going to go to. Ezekiel 39. Let's go to 30. Let's go to 38. 1 second. Let me say this real quick. Before I go here, I want to say this. The powers that be understand the prophecies. Let me make this clear, brothers and sisters. The banks control the earth. China and the Asians are not going to go against the European powers. And the reason why is that their economy is tied to the bank's economy. And because China owns so much debt, if they destroy the European powers, they would destroy their own money source. So that's never going to happen. But America itself is being sacrificed. That's the sacrificial lamb in all this. The European powers are sacrificing America. They're the sacrifice. So that all the blame will go on America, not the European powers. And that's the reason they came up with the UN. The UN is a base so that they can make NATO, which is an international army. And with this international army, they would have bases all around the world. Okay? It would be an international army that will eventually take over certain places, like they took over parts of the army of Egypt. They took over certain parts of the army of Afghanistan, Pakistan. Now they've taken over, they're looking to put their bases in Libya. What's going on here, brothers and sisters, is that the NATO army is now preparing for their last war to go against our people who's going to be in the wilderness. That's what this is all about. That's what all these army bases are dealing with. And even when America's destroyed, they understand they have to fulfill that last piece to destroy Jacob before the coming of Christ. We're putting it all together for you, brothers and sisters. So they're telling people in the church that all the nations are lining up to fight Israel. And you have to protect Israel because the nations are aligning to fight them. That's a lie. Israel is financing all the armies that's going to come against us. Yes, they're putting the bases in all these areas you see right now because they know Bible prophecy. Listen to this, because the last time I brought this out over a year ago, they erased it. They took it down immediately. They didn't want no one to see it because they need to work behind that facade of secrecy in order to do what they're doing. And they don't want the people to help us get the promise and to protect us in that time of trouble. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. Read the first verse.
Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1.
Read.
And the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Now, Gog is what you would call the chief president of Asia, because we know these are sons of Japheth. So yeah, China do play a prophetic part of this. Now, some people say, well, he's talking about Russia too. The original Russians were not Caucasian. All right? The original Russians were Asians. Russia is just what you would call a European buffer in Asia, between Asia and the Middle East. But they are part of the 10 horns. Don't be deceived with Russia. This is talking about the Asians here. Read.
Verse 3. And say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine armies.
Now, when you put hook in their jaws, that means if you got a horse running this way, if you put a hook in his jaws, you will turn him around and make him go a way he don't want to go. So you have to realize China is one of the very few armies that's not in the Middle East right now. But based on what America and Israel is about to do to Iran, it's going to force the Chinese army to come down there too. That's the hook in their jaws. They're going to be pulled into this war. The body of Jehoshaphat, which is actually the place where all the nations will eventually be judged when Christ returns. But when they get down there, they're going to be looking to destroy us. This is the key piece a lot of people don't see. When they went into Libya, they were beheading our people in Libya. These armies are being prepared to kill us. And that's what I'm putting out there so y'all can understand. The Israel that they are coming up against is the real children of Israel, not the state of Israel that was placed there as a proxy in 1948. Read.
And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia,
which is the Medes, which is Iran. Go ahead.
Ethiopia, and
Libya, that lets you know that eventually the Western world is going to take over Libya. Based on what we see in here, they're going to take over Libya. Read.
Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Be thou a guard unto them. Unto who? Let's see. Read.
After many days shalt thou be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel.
Against the mountains of Israel. Read.
Which have been always waste.
Which have been always waste. It's talking about God's people that have been desolate since 70 AD. It's not talking about the Israel over there today. They're not waste. They own the banks. They own everything you see. They're going to try to come against us. This is Jacob's trouble it's talking about here. Read.
But it is brought forth out of the nations.
But it was brought forth out of the nations. That means the Israelites started leaving the places that they were enslaved in and started going into a certain area. Read.
And they shall dwell safely, all of them.
And they shall dwell safely, all of them. So there will be a safe place for the children of Israel, according to prophecy. Read.
Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Power. It shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought.
So they're going to think an evil thought. What would they think to do against our people who have fled these other nations and are safe? Read.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
This is how you know it's not talking about Israel. Israel is not an unwalled village. They have guns, they have military, they have a port, they have protection all around Israel. You can't walk around Israel without seeing guns. So these people here that are safe are being protected by the Most High and unwalled.